Yeah, I forgot to ask my question, Scott.
Oh, what was your question, sir?
I also forgot my question, so...
What was your question? Oh, I see.
I don't remember.
Dice. Oh, well, that sucks.
It was the one I was about to ask during stream, and I was like, oh, I'll ask it when we take a break, and then I forgot what it was.
So I'm doing this, I'm trying to do this no sugar November, because I'm horribly addicted to sugar, and I already broke down on Tuesday and had eggnog, 4 candy bars, and ice cream. But I started back up again on the 5th, and I'm still doing good. And it's not like there's zero sugar. It's just I can't add sugar to things or have any sweets and whatnot. And I'm telling you right now, I drive by Dunkin' Donuts and dream of eating like a dozen donuts. And I go into the grocery store and I just stare. I legit like will spend like 20 seconds just staring at zebra cakes, going, "Do I buy it?"
Buy it and eat it in the parking lot. No shame.
I'm not even joking.
No, not November. Not no shave, chat.
I'm trying like crazy, and I'm like going mad. Like I literally went upstairs and told Brittany, how much do you love me? Will you go out and buy me a 20-ounce box of Cocoa Pebbles so I can have a box of cocoa, because I'll eat the whole box in one sitting. And she's like, I love you enough not to go.
Oh.
I'm like, she's like, you already fucking cheated once, and you cheated horribly. Not like a little candy bar. Like, you went to town. I was like, well, if I was going to cheat, I'm not enough.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. I'm like, I'm going nuts. So, we'll see. We'll see if I survive this month.
Someone's going to care package you some chocolate.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I should do. I should turn on that. What's that app that what's your name, baby? Buy forever
Like
ago.
Feed Me or whatever.
Yeah. I think I have it right here. It's not Stream Keys. What the hell is it called? What is this?
I think that's it. Stream Eats.
Stream Eats. Oh, that's what it is. Stream Eats. Yeah. Right. No, it's Stream Keys. What's Stream Keys? I don't know. I had one. There was like a Stream Eats or something like that. I think you're correct. And then just only ask for chocolate cake. Oh, give me some ganache and whatnot. All right, moving on. Oh, God. Moving on. So you guys go walking out of the place, obviously fucking frustrated with that. Do you immediately want to go to another smith to see what you can figure out there? Do you want to go and find your buddy Ophios? Or what's the plan?
I would try to find Ophios, because based on what she said, it sounds like something else is going to go down.
Okay.
And how the head blacksmith, responded, so...
Ophios, what are you doing?
He was looking around town for places to sell stuff once he gets stuff back.
Okay. So,
And people that could possibly identify magical things is another thing, because while he knows he can check again, because he's leveled since the last time, meta info, Scott, but he wants to get somebody who could possibly identify stuff for certain when it comes to the magical items he pulled off of the Loper when he gets them back.
Oh, yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Because he has a magic dagger, and he has the one that changes size.
Yep. All right, so why don't you roll me an investigation, please, sir?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful! Oh my God! That's amazing, Tyler.
That better fucking show up.
Tyler, you walking through, you're aggravated with the whole scenario. You came all the way up here just to get a sword. It turns out the sword's not going to be ready for legitimate, at least a year and a half. Assuming it's commissioned by the best smith that they know. And then on top of that, who knows how much that friggin' thing's going to cost. And then you have the guard that did the thing while you're up here. It's just friggin' frustrating.
Yeah, he's been pissed since he felt like he had to reveal himself, otherwise they wouldn't have gotten out of there.
So you end up making yourself, bringing yourself to the mercantile area, where it is that most of the, my apologies, the marketplace area. So where it is that most of the merchants are going to be peddling ore and buying so it's kind of like the other, the not necessarily full blown used, ready to used goods, but more of like the stuff that you use to create other goods. Because in this area, you're also going to have a lot of other adventurers coming through, and you can probably peddle things like potions and scrolls to like passers-by, or maybe some of the merchants here would want to buy this kind of stuff. Kind of get a good feeling. Going through this area, you definitely find like a cart, like, oh, this cart over here, actually, it looks like they have a decent number of scrolls, and this person seems like a fairly up and up. Because like some people you go by, like they're selling scrolls, but they definitely give me that kind of like, I don't trust them kind of vibe with that person over there. And then you even ask a couple questions like, use this. What do you think of? And the people actually are pretty honest with you of, oh, if you're looking to sell, go to this person there, but don't buy from them because, they jack up the prices because they have to, So you get some really good opinions of where it is that you should go and sell lots of goods. Oh, if you're looking to get things identified, you should totally go to this shop over there. They actually will, if you're buying stuff from them, they'll actually throw an identification of other stuff as for free as like a part of our service, and so you get like really good things like that. But you end up also finding yourself, like I said, over where the raw materials area is, and you're speaking to different persons that run those shops over there. And while you're kind of like checking out, looking at the different ores and how is it like, really, is cold iron really that expensive or whatever, you kind of picking through, and at one point in time, just because the shop area is kind of crowded, you ended up accidentally bumping into someone that's there. You end up seeing like a hobgoblin woman that you literally bump into, and she gives you kind of like a sharp look as you bump into her. It's completely by accident. What do you say?
She gives me like a sharp look, like she's mad at me.
Well, just because like, you bumped into her and just kind of caught her off guard, and it's kind of like a hey, because like in a crowded spot.
Excuse me. Didn't mean to bump you, but since I have, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you know of wares I could get some assistance in identifying objects of values? Magical, perhaps.
Well, I know there's a shop nearby where they'll do that stuff if you're doing other trading with them. I brought a couple things over there myself recently that I picked up nearby. Found out one of them was bullshit. Went back, broke a nose. Got a refund.
Fairs. Sound like my kinds of arrangements. What brings you to these parts anyways?
Trading. Looking for particular ores. Stuff that I can work with. Maybe a couple of gifts to bring back home.
Questions. Yes. I made some mistakes and had invested in orders of cold irons. Does it really take as long as they say?
I mean, if you suck, it can take a few years. I know cold iron. I know it pretty well.
And if used goods?
I mean, you want a good job or you want the job done?
Both.
Then I could probably work out a cold iron blade maybe a year and a half, maybe a little bit less. Of course, ain't nobody ever got any cold iron, which is the reason why I'm up here. Because my leaders wanted some ore, and so they commissioned for me to come this way.
Leaders. Ores. Perhaps you could meet my friends. Yes. My friend's supposedly a smith, a smithing apprentice, some things like that. And yours is smiths?
I am, yeah. Granted, I got some supplies that I bring around with me, but, well, my smith is being built as we speak.
Fairs. Name's Ophios.
Hansa, she says, and reaches out and shakes your hand. And music happens. Music happens.
It's cute.
Love it. Oh yeah! Oh my god! I'm cute. Nice. You watch The Holiday? You watch The Holiday?
Yes.
It's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie.
I love it so much.
Oh my god.
Oh, such a good
rom-com. Oh my god.
That's you find out the heads of it's just to bring them here. She's like, oh, I severed his toes. Oh,
so cute.
Sorry. So, she says, what's your smith friend need?
Just figures you guys could talk. She's knows things. Maybe you could help each other out, speeds up processes.
Sure. Listen, I got some shit I got to do, and after that, I got nothing to do once the shops here close obnoxiously early. There's really no work ethic in a town like this. So, what do you say we meet up at a tavern later on?
Sounds fine by me. Which ones?
Oh, don't fall down, cat. Sorry. You ever hear Glug Mug?
Ophios will just kind of shrug and just be like, "This is my first time here."
So look for the Glug Mug Tavern. Ask around. People know what it is. Really good grog.
Sounds fair. I'll see you later then. Yes?
Yes. And she's gonna go off. She walks away. She looks back at you and thinks of that, guitar sound for a second.
Wink.
No. And so,
Can I get an advantage on whatever persuasion roll I have with her now because of that timing? That timing was just perfect.
Yeah, but then you
Leave
can just
Ophios alone for 5 minutes and he finds a girlfriend.
Yeah, you can just ask Kat to watch the stream. Be like, text me when.
That honestly, that was literally my med alarm to take my meds. So.
Oh really?
Literally, it's just the timing.
Would have been really funny if it actually was. You know what I mean? Like, no. So, anyways, moving on. So, sorry. You go and head to kind of like look around some more. Like I said, you found all the shops that when you get your stuff back will be great for selling and getting a good price for the stuff that you no longer feel is necessary to have on you. Unless there's anything else that you thought was pertinent to do, Tyler, because that takes many hours. We can just have you guys meet up with each other.
The only other thing he would be doing is he is obviously very suspicious and cautious of the captain of the guard. So he would probably use his disguised self to try and see if he could get information out of guardsmen to see what's being talked about or anything like that.
You can roll me an investigation on this, but you're literally asking about the captain of the guard, so you're going to roll a disadvantage.
Okay, even if I disguise myself as a guardsman or anything like that? Okay. Yeah, didn't think so.
Some of the questions you ask are literally met with answers like, and other questions you ask are met with things like, why are you asking? And things like that. So the guards aren't very helpful, but the impression that you do get is that it seems like the captain of the guard has a decently close relationship with all of the guards here. Like, she knows them personally, which makes it difficult for you to kind of ask questions about her without raising suspicion. Fair. And so, I know I'm not just going to throw it out there that the guards are now all suspicious of you, because Ophios is a pretty guarded person. And so, as soon as he steps his foot into he realizes he's stepping into some mud, I imagine he backs out pretty quickly. However, to cover your tracks, why don't you roll me a deception check? But no disadvantage on this. This is normal. Okay, so trying to cover up your. Are you happy with that roll? Do you want to modify it at all?
I'm gonna go ahead and modify it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's a 13.
Yep. And so you cover up your tracks pretty well, so you don't think anybody's really going to be asking questions about you or your personas or anything like that. You meet up with the party later on. This is later in the day, before the sun sets and before you go and be meeting with this woman Hansa, this hobgoblin woman Hansa at Glug Mug or whatever it is. And so you, Rena, and Yondis all meet up. It's one of those as you're crossing through whatever marketplace areas. So, oh, hey, and you can meet up with one another.
Ophios will just simply say, I found Renus. I found somebody's that might be of use with regards to smithings and things. Somebody's else. Was here's for ores. Yes, ores.
Old iron?
Yes. And other ores. First making things, smithings, whatever's. What's the lady's name again? Because I didn't write it down.
Hanza.
Hansa.
Girlfriend, dude.
Hansa. Hobgoblin Hansas.
Hobgoblin, huh?
Oh, by the way, I'm eating out of your cousin.
Oh, hi.
Why?
That's
He's like,
that's
"Hi, Jerry."
Beishra's brother.
Frederick, no.
BB, Bishop's brother.
Yep.
Hey, baby.
Daelric, how rare are hobgoblins?
They are the most prolific race. Like, my apologies. They're integrated in every society. Not the most prolific. Most prolific is like almost parent. You're human currently, almost parent. But they're integrated in every society.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're everywhere. They're just not. They're just in this. Outside of a deer, they're not like in big numbers. They're just numbers everywhere. But they're a part of like society. They're not like ew hobgoblins. Yeah. Funny enough, in neither of my campaigns have we really seen goblins yet. We only saw, we saw one time goblins, but they were handled pretty handedly.
Where the goblins at?
So go ahead, guys, chat.
Okay, then keep.
Unless there's nothing really to talk about, go ahead, chat.
Well, that's literally Ophios said the things to Rena when they first met, so I was waiting for them to respond.
Yeah, and I said, sounds like it's worth talking to her.
Yes.
You said it was a she.
Yes. She seems to know things and said things I likes about forgings and weapons makings. Thoughts perhaps you two would have a nice conversation, seems as you know things as well.
Things you like being quickness of production.
Speeds and skills.
Huh. Okay. And where are we meeting her?
The glug mug. Glubs mugs. Taverns. The place. The glubs mugs. Whatever's this place.
Ophios, are you okay?
Tavern works.
Oh, Ophios, we ran into the captain of the guard. She said she'd be meeting us really soon. So.
I haven't heard anything. Wise, perhaps. How she runs into hers.
She was
About
talking
some
to the
weapon.
blacksmith about us, I assume, something that she didn't like. Look, I know you're worried about giving your identity away. And as much as I just love fire, I think we need to come up with a plan. Maybe one that doesn't involve a small genocide.
You just kind of see Ophios's eyes narrow, and he kind of stares off in the distance. What's going on in his head for people watching? He's literally thinking about how he's going to kill her right now.
So, I think a plan would be great to have before we run into her for a worst case scenario.
Yes. Perhaps.
Maybe we should talk about that somewhere privately. But we can go meet the smith if you want to do that now, and then plan it out later. I just don't know how much time we have, because it sounded like it was going to be either by the end of today or tomorrow.
Fair's enough. Any other infos? Anything happens when conversations occurs?
I think that's just that, and then we couldn't afford a sword. I think that's really all that we did.
Fairs.
Am I missing anything, Rena?
I noticed some quality weapons, but we lacked the coin, so.
There are ways to get coins. I found shops to sell. We have things to sell, so perhaps we can trade. But we can't without our stuff, so
let's get working on a worst case scenario plan first, and then after we get the stuff, we can figure it out. If it's not as bad as it potentially is.
yes.
All right, great.
So, you guys end up making your way to the Glugbug Tavern. One of the interesting things about this tavern, it's really weird. You didn't notice it when you were walking by before, because you're just kind of like looking for where this guy might be. She kind of like popped in, popped out. The building itself is round, like cylindrical. It's literally shaped like a giant barrel, like a giant whiskey barrel. and I mean like gigantic. If it's sorry, not quite cylindrical. Sorry, like a whiskey barrel on its side. So gigantic, obviously, if it's a whole friggin' tavern. So imagine a whole huge giant whiskey barrel knocked over on its side. When you go walking into it, you're like, oh, this really does look like, even like what the sign hangs off of, looks like a spigot or like a spout that would come out of a whiskey barrel if you were like to, tap into it and, get drink out of it. When you go walking into the place, the decor isn't any different. The whole thing is like rounded around. For obviously there's a floor that goes between the first and the second floor, but the second floor is also a tavern. So it's almost like two different taverns, or at least multiple bars within one tavern's first and second floor. And the whole thing is kind of like, concave or whatever on the inside because of how it's shaped on the outside. All the tables in here are like whiskey barrel tops put on like thin looking whiskey barrels, like pedestal tables with a whole bunch of like small whiskey barrels for chairs everywhere. The whole bar top looks like whiskey barrels cut in half and just kind of like, served up so they make a whole thing. Like, it's got a theme going for it that's like so over the top. At first you thought it might be cute, but now you think it's obnoxious, which just makes it cute again. You know what I mean? It's very in your face. One of the things that you notice inside here is it's actually run by a whole bunch of hobgoblins. Run the place. Just confirming that I got my race right because I'm a racist. I'm a racist bad boy. Bad racist boy. Yep, hobgoblins. A whole bunch of hobgoblins run this place. And most of the people inside here are actually hobgoblins. That are like inside here drinking. There's humans and Perrin and half-orcs and Hafue and whatnot in here. Sure. But most people in here drinking are hobgoblins. All the people here are working are hobgoblins. And like a quick little look around, you get the impression, just by the similarities between all the hobgoblins working, you think it might actually be a family-owned place. Anyways, everybody's drinking. There's like a ton of barrels of like the same alcohol, and then like a couple of other alcohols too. And a ton of barrels, it's not like they're behind the bar. There's legit a wall with like a stack of barrels of all the same alcohol that people are pouring from. This must be the grog that Hansa was referring to. Anyways, you come into the place and you look around for a bit. It's quite busy in there. It's a bit bustling. It's quite busy in there, and you walk around and you look. And eventually upstairs, you do find Hansa is up there and just kind of relaxing. You see that underneath the table she's sitting at, it's actually a decent-sized table, but nobody else is sitting there with her. Maybe it's her charming personality that kept them away. But the underneath the table, you can see that she has a couple of packs of things that she probably purchased, and she's keeping under there so nobody can just kind of like swipe it as they walk by. So you look like it's one of those things where as you walk over, you see her and give her like the I see you like head nod or wave or whatever it is, and she nods as well, and gestures to the fact that there's actually a mug sitting in an open spot across from her. So when you make your way over and your friends come with you as well, you hadn't mentioned that you were joining with friends that were coming with you. Did you, Tyler?
Yeah, I said I mentioned Rena.
Oh yeah,
I didn't mention Yondis.
Gotcha. My apologies. So you come over and you actually see there's two empty mugs. Not empty, two mugs that are sitting there. And so you come over and the three of you come over and sit down and she'll actually look and be like, she'll look at the two of them and she'll stand up and be like, I thought there were only two of you coming.
Apologies. I came with threes. He can have mine though. It's fine.
And so you give it to Yondis?
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm a guess that you're the smith, looking at Rena.
Rena?
Yep. When she reaches up, she stands and, grabs your hand over the table and she shakes your hand. She says, Hansa.
Nice to meet you.
How long you been doing it? She says as she sits down.
Several years. You?
A time. Time to master a couple of things and learn a few more. You got any examples?
Not with me at the moment.
Guards wouldn't let us bring us in them since.
Guards didn't stop me. But then again, your parent.
And Ophios kind of like nods towards Yondis.
Yep. She goes, y'all from Peredhel?
I'm not.
Technically, Ophios isn't either.
You actually
Again.
are from Peredhel, but like not
I?
from Peredhel, like from in that lands, but
Yeah,
not
right.
really, not really a citizen, you know.
So once again, Ophios just kind of says, "He's is."
I am. Yeah.
That must make things difficult. Ain't nobody like
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Assholes. Anyways, yes, thought it'd be nice to meet Serena's and talks to you about cold irons, cold steels, makings of equipment, things like that. It's put some orders in and was told it takes 4 years, but I don't have 4 years.
A detail he forgot to mention to me before ordering.
I get it. All right, listen. I can work it. I can. I know how, and I would even have a spare time. But right now, I don't have the iron, and I don't have the smithy. The smithy is being made as we speak, and there is a chance that the iron is going to be back at my smithy sometime in the near future. But I'm coming to collect some ore just in case. So, I'm going out on a limb here because I'm here not on personal business. I'm here on business for leadership, let's just say. And I know that they're looking to expand trade sometime in the near future. Now, you don't represent any nations or nothing. You're just a couple of people. So what do we say, if you're able to pony up the ore plus 10%, I'm willing to do the job for you. And then we can see where things go from there. You can come by my shop in the future, check things out in that area, you pick up the done product, and then maybe you bring some of your friends and they start buying stuff and we see where things go from there.
Seems fair to me.
I keep changing her voice.
Just kind of looking over at Rena, just like, is that normal smithing cost? Because now at this point, Ophios is like, I'm not going to be a fool again.
Well, you
Now-
don't have any ore, right?
I know I've been collecting ore myself, and I'm going to be, and I can bring you to where I'm purchasing it from. I can barter the price, and you can just pay for yours plus 10%. Depending on what you have it made.
And how near is the future? Like, how near are we talking here?
Well, it'll take me about 1.5 years to make the thing. If you want it done the right way, I can get it done in less than a year if you just want it done quick. But I also have to get back home, and that's going to take me at least a month and a half just to get down there. So it gives time for me to head down and you to come sometime afterwards. That's, of course, if you don't mind traveling south.
We may have
Just came
business
from
in the south, and I'll just look to Ophios.
Yes, fairs. I can make sure we get you the ores if this is the ways I want to proceed.
No. I'll find the ore, and you can come with me so you know I'm not trying to cheat you. Because I'm not looking to... I can't deal with that bullshit. I just want to do a fucking job and get paid for it, right? So, I'll buy the ore. You pay me for the ore plus 10%. We call it a day.
Sure, as long as I can support it, sounds fair to me.
What are you looking to have made?
It's a special weapons of sorts, but of course I can't show you this at the times. The captain's has it. Perhaps I'll have it before you leaves.
I'm stuck in this shithole for another 1.5 weeks.
Then perhaps that's what works. It's along sorts of types. 1 hands or 2 hands.
All right. Well, you show me your weapon. I'm going to have to see you fight, too. I'm sure you can spar. She says, like, looking between the 3 of you.
Ophios just kind of chuckles at that. Yes, I can.
I'm going to want to know how you handle the blade so I can make it correct, so I can make it for your specifications.
Ophios kind of smiles and looks over at Rena and be looking like, is this normal?
I'll just nod and I'll say he's capable.
All right, then we'll have a deal. I'll need to see the weapon before I can procure the ore so you can pay me and so on and so forth. We'll kind of take things from there. Like I said, I'm stuck in the shithole for like another 1.5 weeks, so at any point in time you can come and find me and we can talk once you get things settled.
I remembered why we kept the head.
Can we find you again here?
Yeah,
I remembered why we kept the head, because the blood was powerful to imbue a weapon with the blood, so we kept the head because we thought we could use the brain.
So brain's not working. Sorry, you said brain.
Like, can I find you
There's
here?
another
Oh,
one.
can I find you here? Yeah, it's the only place that has decent grog around here. I gotta say, these glug mug boys, they know what they're doing.
I'll be sure to check it out then.
Have you guys taken a sip out of your mugs? Because obviously she
Oh yeah,
bought.
well she brought me one, right? So I'll be drinking it then.
It's literally Yondis and you have one, and Ophios just doesn't.
Rena, it's funny that I'm saying this, considering what you're literally drinking in real life. Do you know what grog is?
I'm gonna assume a beer or something.
Grog is watered down hard liquor.
Cool.
It's what
Even
like
better.
it's what you do to like stretch out like rations of hard liquor, so you can like have a drink of hard liquor but not have to like take it all in one shot, so you can kind of so it has like a lasting effect or whatever. So it's funny because you're literally drinking watered down vodka right now.
Yeah,
with
because
loads of sugar added.
yeah, it's originally grog is not whiskey, rum and water.
Oh, I thought it was whiskey and water. Is it rum and water? You might be right.
It's rum.
Okay.
Rum. It was a British vice.
All right, so rum and water. So I think it was spiced rum though, wasn't it? So more of like yeah.
Spirits originally rum.
Yeah.
So,
So like watered down hard liquor is more or less. So I mean, whether or not grog is good is very usually no, but what you're drinking here actually has so much flavor to it that the flavor is actually one of those like it punches you in the face at first like ugh, but after like you get like halfway through the mug, you start to be like, oh, I get it. Oh, this actually is good. Like, you just have to, don't think of the alcohol. Think of, like, all the other shit that's thrown in there. It's actually not bad. Like I think I could get used to this. Yeah, okay.
So are you saying it's more like Bumbo?
I don't know what that is. Yondis, however, is probably
Bumbo
like,
is
nah.
Bumbo is Pirates grog. They basically did grog, but then added sugar and nutmeg.
Oh, okay, there you go. Perfect. Okay, sure. Tyler with his grog knowledge.
I literally have... I looked up what grog was.
Oh, cheated.
Oh, sorry.
I knew what grog was initially, but I wanted to make sure I was correct on the alcohol type. But then I saw a thing, did pirates drink grog? And I clicked on it and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Bumbo.
So it will have about the same ABV as like say a stronger beer, but but
So
either
I
way.
down it.
Yep. And it's one of those things where you drink it down, and now from this point on, unless there's any other like important conversation you wish to have with her, and please feel free if there is, you can kind of just break down into basic small talk, and she more or less just says she's from a small nation to the south, and whatnot, and that she'd be more than happy to work with you there, and everything, and she'll meet with you in a few days, and all the stuff we kind of went over, and ask a couple questions about you guys. You guys are vague with your own responses, and but you get along. Rita, you and her get into shop talk. We talk about like weighted hammers and the shape of anvils and what angle you like to take at things. And you come to realize, like, she actually realizes, no, you're not bullshitting. You actually are a trained smith, so on and so forth. And she appreciates that. But you also realize very quickly, just by looking at the corded muscles of her forearms, like how strong built her shoulders are, just the way that she goes, even just like the passion in her eyes as she describes, like, how does she crafted things, that she literally crafted something for a king, like things like that. You're like, holy shit, this is a legit fucking smith. Okay. Things like that. What's up, Tyler?
Glen is the language, their native language, right?
Glen is the lower goblin language. Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the languages. What language... He's trying to speak to her without anybody else necessarily understanding in his party, necessarily.
Good luck.
I mean, because Ophios knows how to speak Draconic, Glen, Loper, Perrin, and Sylvan.
I mean, she probably speaks Glen. I'm just looking at her right now. Yeah, she speaks Glen.
So Ophios would just speak in Glen. He's not trying to purposely be deceitful to his party, but he's trying to be more hush-hush to the common tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and he's well aware that there are hobgoblins around that probably speak the same language.
Mm-hmm.
But he would just kind of lean in and say in Glen, So, do you know anything about the guards here? Why these would hold their stuffs? Perhaps more so than the fact of him being the parents.
She shakes her head slowly. No, I had zero run-ins with them whatsoever. To be fair, though, I did travel up here with some people that have a bit of a reputation. From a city-state to the south called Le Chevre. There's some decent merchants out of Le Chevre, and they were traveling under their banner. Nobody asked any questions. I brought some coin with me and promises of more. So again, nobody's really asked any questions.
Fairs. Just wanted to get some insight if you knew anything about the guards here, other than obviously flying under that banners gets you through as easily.
Let me be honest. Be honest with me. You work for Peredhel?
No's.
None of you?
None's.
No.
None's at all.
Oh, but we don't understand. Just kidding.
If you make a good enough deal with me, maybe I get you on my caravan.
We'd have to get our stuffs first, but
Got a week
it's
and a
promising.
half. Week and a half.
Yep.
This is like 4 drinks deep from her. You know what I mean? So she's like
Yeah.
a little tipsy and being friendly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Ophios has literally been shooting the shit with her the whole time.
Yep.
I mean, music played when they first met, so he's intrigued.
While they're talking, I would have gone and gotten another round.
Yep.
Brought it back.
So
Around for everybody, or
Yeah.
Yondas isn't included. All right, so you guys have a
No,
relatively
just her and I.
you guys have a relatively good evening with her. Whatever things kind of go over well. The next morning, you're actually going to be woken up from your tavern. You guys are all in the same inn. My apologies, or would you have spread out?
Ophios would have picked an inn where all three would have stayed when he went in there, and
Sure.
and basically left word at the desk if they walked into it, expecting them to go to the same inn.
Okay, cool. And I'll just take from the amount of drinking that you guys did, the inns that you stayed at, so on and so forth. 3 gold from each of you for simplicity, and you can subtract that from the character sheet. And then she goes over.
How much silver is in gold?
10 silver equals 1 gold.
All right, so I'm getting
So
rid of
30
my
silver. Yeah, 30 silver.
Yeah, so I wanted to lower my silver instead of my gold.
So anyways, so you'll actually hear a knock on your door. We'll say Ophios, and Rita, you hear like a knock on a door down the hall. Then Rita, you hear a knock on your door, followed by a knock on the door down the hall the other direction. You hear Messy a faraway knock, a nearby knock, then a knock on your door, and somebody kind of walks down the hall and knocks on all 3 of your doors.
Ophios disguises himself slightly different this time when he opens the door. He disguises himself as a hobgoblin.
That's slightly different from a Perrin.
Never mind.
Hobgoblin.
I decided because I was just in there. He probably would have not her, but a different hobgoblin at the bar. Probably somebody that he could tell was well traveled and stuff like that.
You see the captain of the guard there, and when you open up the door, she's not standing outside your door because she was the first one she knocked on. She's standing outside the door 3 doors down. She looks at you, and she looks around at the other doors for a second. She looks back at you and says, "You can do more than one?"
Ophios shuts the door and then changes back into the other one and says, "Captains? Sorry, my roommates said something."
You got him there. There's no way.
What do I need to roll for that?
I don't think you should roll anything.
Deception if you want to try, but since she knows she can change shape, it's a
Good
disadvantage on that one, boyo.
Disadvantage?
The roommate at the hotel.
Hey, you never know if he found somebody that wanted to chill in his hut
What
with him.
are they called? Johns? Is that what you call male prostitutes? Johns?
There you go, 17.
Why would you use our luck on that? You son of a bitch.
Use his luck on that. Oh, that's
Oh
hilarious.
my god.
Probably still gonna fail. Oh my god, you suck.
He's like, my roommate said. Anyways, so she goes, because you have to turn into somebody that you've seen before, right? So she says,
Can't put another name on
You
the
know,
spot,
you
sorry.
know Titan Glugmug?
It wasn't Titan Glugmug. It said it was a traveled person, and it was a lady.
Was it a traveled lady? Hansa? No. No,
It could have been Hansa. He actually had seen her for a lot. He could have disguised as Hansa.
didn't realize he was so drunk he didn't. No. So she seems to believe you. She goes, okay, and she waits for the other two to open up. Like but the point is to trick her, and it seems like it did. Yeah. So the two of you, I imagine, come out of your rooms. Once again, you see her there, and she says to you guys, "Let's go."
Sure, yeah, lead the way. No need to explain anything.
Thanks. And she walks out of the inn with the three of you, and leads you guys back across town over to the merchants area, and into actually the smiths.
Did I get anything?
You know that there's definitely a purpose to this walk and whatnot. You know that she's definitely keeping an eye on you guys. She's suspicious of all of you, so on and so forth. But she believes. She actually thinks that she believes what happened prior.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah. She thinks she was like, that was weird, but okay, yeah, well, it happens. like she probably thought it wasn't a roommate, but doesn't really give a shit either way. So, and travels with you guys to the this is the Smith's stead that you were at beforehand, Rita. Walks in with you guys, and they kind of like, because it's early, so it's before they even open. The apprentice comes over, opens the door, and says, "Oh, yep. Come on, Captain." And she walks in, and he looks as Ophios walks in, looks as Rena walks in, then looks as Yondis walks in, then gives Yondis a double take and narrows his eyes, and the door shuts with a bit of a snap to it.
Is that the blacksmith that you freaking charmed?
Yes, it is. Thanks for noticing.
You guys are led to the back of the place and over to the door where she had come out of before with the other blacksmith, and he's actually hearing the door slam shut. He kind of comes over, opens the door, curious what the hell that was, and then sees her there, and he's like, "Oh, come in," and waves her in. When you guys go into the back room, you can actually see the back room opens up into the immediate back area. Opens up to where his office is. And the office is not like some super organized, like it's a desk and a chair on the other side, something like that. His office is more like a whole bunch of files of parchments that are all kind of put inside these metallic boxes to hopefully make them fire retardant to some degree or whatever. That are on different shelves and everything that he has in there. It's kind of an organized chaos that he has going on. You imagine there's some sort of pattern to it, but he definitely keeps good records of stuff. You can also see with his, by some of the papers that are sitting out, these blueprints of other weapons that he's working on. You can see samples of ore, of different types of ore, and I mean small samples, something that you could actually craft a weapon or whatever with. But small samples of ore sitting up on a shelf and things like that. Maybe as decoration, maybe as a reminder, or whatever the case may be. There's a bunch of stuff in there, and there are actually several chairs in there, but they're kind of scattered about. But you already see another person is currently sitting inside of a chair, and you actually see it's a gentleman. He's an older gentleman, very, very slender, older parent. So he's kind of has the graying. His face is elongated, kind of sunk in a little bit.
So he doesn't look like a loper.
He doesn't look like a loper. No. He's like an older parent. Yeah. That's in there and already sitting down. And so he kind of goes in and just is grab a chair, wherever it's coming from. And goes over and grabs his own chair. And you can tell the nicest chair there was probably made by him. And he goes over and pulls it up and sits down. And it literally looks like one of those scenarios where everybody's gonna have to sit semicircle, circle style, whatever the case may be.
Around the old man.
No, just kind of like you guys. Sorry, not semicircle. You guys can make a circle, or if it's not enough.
Okay.
Just kind of just so you can all face each other inside this room. There'll be 6 of you in there total.
Ophios will probably go to the chair furthest from the door, just to watch the door.
Sure.
So he kind of had an angle facing the door.
Sure. You can go over there and do that. And that's the only door in or out of here. And again, it's a decent sized room, but it's kind of a bit of a controlled chaos. So everybody sits down. The captain of the guard will be the last one to sit down once everybody kind of settles in. I imagine everybody does grab their chairs and sit.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies. She goes over and before she sits down, my apologies, she says, I'm glad we were able to get everybody here. Because there's some stuff that we're going to have to talk about. Well, I suppose give me an opportunity to introduce everybody. Everybody knows me, obviously. And she goes over and she sits down, and as she's sitting down, she gestures towards Rena and says, her name is Rena. She apparently is the guard of this gentleman over here, Yondis, who is apparently ex-noble of Peredhel. And that right there is... What did you say your name was?
Ophios.
Ophios. I wasn't sure if that was the lie. And his story is the most interesting, since I don't think he's from either Dale or Peredhel. Over there, that's Master Smith, goes by Ethan. And over here, this is Kylen. Now, we're all... Hi, God.
Kylen. Is this Alcoholics Anonymous?
Now, we're all here because of little bits of knowledge that each one of us happen to have, and how each one of us might be able to assist each other in the immediate and the potentially far-reaching future. I suppose
kind of looks intrigued, is still kind of eyeballing her like, okay.
I suppose, without further ado, I'll allow Kylen to start with his little bit of the tale. A tale that I've heard a long time ago. Kylen leans in and says, hello. I do apologize for having to pull you in here like this, but it's important that we have this conversation. My name is Kylen, and I was once with the Peredhel military. I actually served as a lieutenant over on the Eastern Front. I was part of the more recent battlefields as we finish expanding the... I'm terrible at names, even of my own homebrewed world, and I need to have it pulled up so I can say the correct things, because I'm an awful person.
Good
Please
song.
don't hate me. Oh my gosh, golly gee willikers. There we go. As we expanded the region of Leyden Day, and really pushed to take a firm hand control over in Delegas. I eventually left the military, actually deserted the military because of things that I discovered along the way that I wasn't very happy with. Things that many people have called me crazy for talking about in the past. Things that only have recently been justified.
Ophios, before he's even said that last thing, he says, Lopers.
He nods.
This is actually, Ophios is actually kind of smiling at this point because he's like, this is interesting. He's finding somebody who might know more than he does as far as where Lopers are. So,
for all of you that aren't very familiar with Eastern, or specifically say Northeastern Eroth, the Dale lands are over there. It's a large country, whatever. Some time ago, over a century ago, peoples just appeared out of nowhere, as the story goes, and there was a minor dispute, and eventually a treaty or whatever was signed, and these peoples that appeared out of nowhere were welcome to make stay on the lands, on the Dale lands. They're giving a bit of a refugee area where they can all live. Now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect us over in the central or western or even southern Eroth, would it? Except in my battles, I noticed that some of the commands that were coming to me from my higher-ups were strange. They didn't really stick to Peredhel directive. They really pushed for us to find strange locations or pushed for different chunks of lands. It didn't make sense to me, and even to this day, I don't understand exactly why it was we were reaching for parts of the mountains here or parts of this, that over there, but what I did know was one time I happened to walk in on a commander that was anticipated to be on a battlefield, but wasn't for their own reason. They were meditating, is the best way I could describe it, inside their own residence, and they looked different. You can see I'm no young man. Look at this beautiful specimen over here, he says, gesturing towards Yondas. He has great features, but you can see already, even in his youth, for a trained Peredhel, the three of us in this room have, he says, knowing that there's 4 Perrin-looking people in the room, like the 3 of us in this room have, that as he ages, his face is going to age so gracefully. Not going to look as wrinkled as mine. The elongation, the sunken nature, all of these things, they'll look good despite the age settling in. But this face, as old as it looks so young. So young.
Where are you going with this?
He's talking about a loper right now, right? That's what I'm hearing, right? He's going to say the guy ages but keeps the youthful face. And he's describing the loper he walked in on meditating. Correct me if I'm wrong, Scott.
Yep, you are correct. I saw this and I escaped. I don't think they noticed. I immediately went and tried to speak to their next in command about this, their lieutenant commander about it. The lieutenant commander threatened my life if I had said anything to anyone ever again, and that my simple knowledge of what I had seen could be the end of me. I deserted that night and never went back. It was not Perrin. It was not who I swore to serve, and so I deserted. Many laughs. I've been called a loon many times. Eventually settled here. Doesn't matter. I have a relationship with the captain of the guard. We have our understanding. And then she brought to my attention what it was that she had seen yesterday. Apparently I'm not crazy.
Ophios is actually, he is so happy right now. He's happy because literally his doubts, he's upset with the captain of the guard because she apparently passed along the information that he didn't want her to. But he's also happy in the fact that he found people that are also against these beings, these creatures. So it almost blinds him in the slight of it because he literally, it's making him feel like home. Something very unusual to him.
My name is Atharion, but I go by Ethan. I suppose I'll pick up from here. I'm a smith of many, many years and have mastered my craft. But when I was young, before I had apprentices that did the work for me, and before I had access to marketplaces that had everything I needed right there for me, I needed to go find my ore myself, and I did, usually with companions traveling with me, but we found what we needed to in the places that we did. There was one time I went delving into a cave where I knew I'd find some ore. I mean, you can tell, the signs, everything said that this is a place to look. The earth spoke to me, told me this was the place to look. And I looked in there and I found something like I ain't never found before. I'll tell you what I did right then and there, I fucking killed it. It came at me with such ferocity. Killed one of my friends. The other one had some sort of hex put on it that couldn't even shake it. He died not long afterwards. I lived. I've got scars. Oh, I've got scars. And he lifts up his arm for clearly his second arm, not his hammer swinging arm, his other arm. And you can see huge fang marks, scars left inside of his body. We killed it. And the other one that was in there too. And we broke every one of those eggs. Something like I've never seen before.
You're gonna see Ophios literally start fuming. You literally see him getting angry right now. Like, there is no way he can contain this. He is ready to kill this guy.
He covers the arm back up. Ugh. We stumbled into a den of whatever it was. I've never seen any of those things ever since. Never seen any of them before. I just knew that day I better make some coin and have somebody else do this shit for me.
Ophios is literally like barely holding himself to the chair. Like he's sitting there, he's still, but his gaze is fierce.
How obvious are you? Just
Well,
say-
that's less of a perception and more of an insight.
Oh, like you're trying to figure out
Okay.
Ophios? Like you're looking at Ophios?
Yeah, he basically everything is internal. You just see
Oh,
he's
here,
not
hang on,
blinking,
hang on.
he's staring at that person. Like
You guys are so engrossed by the stories that they're telling.
Yeah.
The fact that they know this stuff, you're not really paying attention to Ophios. Also, they're across from you. Ophios is next to you. You know what I mean? You can even see Ophios between the two of you, so he's like in a blinder for both of you guys. Moving on. So, he says, I don't know what they were. I asked a couple people. Didn't know what they were either. Figured it was a random clutch of some fucked up snake things, and we killed them and moved on.
Snake.
Again, I ain't really talked to many people about it because I didn't give a shit. You know, but again, Captain of the Guard and I are old friends. We drank together and we've swapped stories. And then I heard an interesting story yesterday.
Son of a bitch.
So when he said snake, I'll just look straight over to Ophios.
what wait, what did he say? I'm sorry, I was looking at something.
Oh, come on, bud. He said that he's seen snake things and he doesn't like them, basically.
No. He saw the fucked up snake
Whatever
things.
snake
He's like, he didn't really think anything of it, but the captain and him are old friends, old drinking buddies, and so they've swapped stories in the past. But he never really told that story in a long time until, of course, he heard what the captain told him yesterday.
So she told him.
Oh yeah. Great. Yeah, he's fuming at the captain of the guard now too.
So she sits there and says, so you can imagine with the stories that I've heard over the years and what I had seen yesterday, that something interesting is happening here. Higher ups in the Peredhel military being controlled by otherworldly creatures, and then there's a race of snake people who hunt them down and kill them. Do I get that right?
Ophios is like too infuriated to respond, so he just you just see a subtle nod, and he's actually focused again back on the blacksmith who literally had. He literally is imagining this is the guy who just killed his den of people.
You can imagine. You know what? He's so angry. He probably thinks exactly that. Yep. So, anyways, so she continues with.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Did you have to Google that?
I couldn't remember the name.
It's pronounced Inigo, even though it's
Inigo?
Yeah, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare
I
to
couldn't
die.
remember his name. I knew it was.
Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. Sorry, wake up the whole family.
Yeah.
You know, Brittany wouldn't be mad if she woke up to me quoting Princess Bride. She'd be like, "You go, baby.
Yeah,
You get him."
It literally has been quite a while since I've seen that movie, and I it literally was just a brain fart. I'm like, no,
A few times a year.
no.
My wife would walk down the stairs. Happening. I'm not a witch. I'm your wife. Sorry. Have fun some in the castle. Sorry. That movie's so quotable. It's so quotable.
It's
Princess.
a great movie.
Buttercup.
Unfunny one. Get out. Get out. Get out. It's a great movie.
What is Princess Bride? I've never seen it. Snowell?
What?
Snowell, you better be joking.
Oh
You
my
better
God,
be joking.
no.
You better be joking. If you are not joking, you are banned from Discord.
ban.
You're banned from here. You're banned from everywhere. Tyler's gonna ban you from his channel. Everyone's gonna ban you from their channel.
Ban.
If you haven't seen it, you have 48 hours, and I'm counted. 48 hours.
We need to know.
All right. Sinatra Girl, you and Snowell hop on Rabbit if that thing still exists and watch it together.
I'm pretty sure it still does.
There you go. You two, get it done. Get it done. All right, moving on. Ugh, embarrassments. Sometimes there are people that enrich your community, and then there's others. All right, so you she asks you, do I have this right? And you're fuming. All you give is a slight nod. And she says, good. Then I think I've just met my new best friend. How can I help?
Wait, she's saying that to me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
How mad are you, Ray?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't even understand. I'm literally feeling the rage of Ophios right now. Like, it is fuming through me. I haven't been
The
able to
Rage
sit
of
still. I'm
Ophios
like,
is a metal band.
So he's gonna be like, good, let's kill him first.
Ophios is literally through his teeth gonna just his only response is not even to her. He's gonna look straight at the blacksmith and says, "Where's was this caves?"
I honestly couldn't rightly remember. Probably a good bit east of here, bordering the Eldamar forest. It was probably some 35 years ago.
So it wasn't Ophios' cave, because
Yeah, a lot of
his
caves
was
have
relatively recent. Ophios actually starts to calm a little bit. He's going to insight check to see if he can tell if the guy's lying.
Sure, go right ahead.
But based on stories of old, he probably doesn't think so, regardless.
You don't know if he's lying or not. You can't get a good beat on him. He's so different from most humans that you interact with that you're having a hard time like getting a read of his personality. He's kind of like, I don't know, stone-faced, you know?
So
He wouldn't lie about where he's from or what cave he smashed up because he doesn't know which cave you're from. So
yeah. So how would he know which one to say and which one not to say?
well, I guess he
That's
could just
true.
make up the location though.
Right.
Eh.
Literally, the only Ophios, as far as his race goes, and as far as I understand him, the only people he cares about are literally his cave himself. So Ophios is going to respond and say, "Were these with others of different race?"
No, it was just me and a couple others.
To the keen eye, Yondis or Rena would have seen that he had literally, Ophios had summoned his dagger again into his hand. But literally kept it really hidden. Like literally had just like kept his hands behind his back and had summoned it back there. So it's like literally nobody has line of sight of it.
I think I'm too engrossed in the drama to notice the subtle details there.
Okay. But essentially what's going to happen is that dagger disappears.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It goes back away. And he leans forward and he shows his face.
You show your face, and he looks at you, and he's like, "Oh, they don't look quite like you, but you's an ugly son of a bitch."
Watch your tongues. You're lucky the ones you killed weren't mines. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been breathing 10 minutes ago.
He chuckles at your threat and says, "All of you don't look alike, do you? Some of you are a bit different. These things had snakes for arms. You got a snake for a face."
Snakes for arms.
That's another type. And so Ophios, he's very that's lower tier on the tier of their military. Ophios, goddamn, thinks of himself as a higher tier than those ones. Those literally are the front lines. Those are the people that the ones that literally just go in to kill massive amounts of people. They're not as sneaky. So Ophios sees himself above that one, and it'll actually ease him even more. And Ophios will say, "Yes, we ours difference. We ours as we are maids, and mine's maids of an elite types, to kills the ones in which the old man speaks."
So, correct me if I'm wrong. They did, in fact, penetrate and usurp to some degree the military or the leadership of Peredhel, did they not? I wasn't crazy all those years ago.
Knows the heads in which your friends here has seen is ones that was a commander's.
What if I told you?
Ophios will say, and I had killed some others before. This is new to Rena. Well, I think Rena and Giannis, he's told this before, but...
I think you might have subtly mentioned it, but you never...
Yeah.
I think you said I've killed one before. Maybe to me, when I was talking to you right
after
you killed it. Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Not to Giannis.
Yeah. So this would be new news to Yondis, but Rena would have acknowledged it more so. But Ophios would speak and he said, but goes ahead.
What if I told you the son of the commander that I'm speaking of currently now has the position of commander here in Vala?
Yeah, Ophios literally perks up and he's
sorry, in Vala, not here, but in Vala. Okay.
Ophios would perk up and be, then I would have to get rid of Sims.
He looks to the captain, and she smiles and says, all right, I think we can make a deal.
Does that mean we get our stuff specs? Because I have businesses to attend to.
Means you get a lot more than your stuff back. Sounds like we might be able to work together in business with one another. Now, the idea of just walking in, marching down, and killing a commander of somewhere is not exactly something that you can do. Well, in a city, as opposed to Adlama. Which, speaking of, and she actually looks at Rena, is Adlama really gone?
I'll just nod.
And the three of you really did that?
Not just us, but Rena's and I's killed the commanders. Yondis thought we were dead, and Ophios starts laughing. Ophios will just openly laugh at that, just at the fact that you weren't there, and he's literally making you out to be a coward right now.
Thanks.
So, there's going to be a bit of a build-up that we'd have to do to get you all the way over there to handle something like that. You're going to need a means of getting in. You're going to need proper identification that is different than the one you currently have. Disguises, things like that. So you're going to need to be able to cover your own tracks. But,
Ophios is just smiling because this is literally what he's been doing his whole life, is covering his own tracks and disguising.
but most importantly, you're going to need assets. And we happen to know a chain of people that'd be able to help you.
At that, Ophios will nod and kind of smile, and he'll say, and of what I said before, no one's to knows of my existence.
You mean outside of us three?
As long as that's facts, yes.
I mean, good luck, but as long as you're talking like that, I think everybody's going to figure it out.
You'd be surprised.
And at that, since Ophios will he'll just kind of smile at that Giannis's response and just kind of laugh, and then Ophios would say, perhaps I could lose the lisps. Somebody who knows linguistics. You literally
clip him saying that word. Clip him saying that word. I need him. I need that as like a ringtone. Okay, I need to take that. I need to take that clip and turn it into a like an MP3 or whatever the fuck you call sound files, and then make it my text message linguistics every time I receive a text message. That's what I need. That's what I need. That with one as my background on my phone. Okay. Oh, hold on. Too many notifications.
What if you can set custom Discord notifications on your phone so every single time he types?
Oh my god! Every time I type.
Yeah. So I need a picture of one with Ophios saying linguistics. That's what I need. That's what I need. I need that.
Right.
All right. Anyways, by the way, this is from a viewer of the show. Matthew Berger, I think his name is. He's an artist, and he made a picture of Jake's character from Kingmaker. Super badass. In Discord art showroom channel. It's in there. Super cool.
Jake better hope he's not a loper.
Better. All right, so moving on. Some of those linguistics, she goes, maybe we can set you up with somebody, but most importantly, we need to set you up with transportation, get you through Vala without being noticed. I'm sure the three of you leave some degree of trail. You all kind of stand out to one end or another, and assets to find what you need when you need it. There happens to be a movement happening in Vala as we speak. I am a part of this movement. You think Tazian Dale is going to take this line? The Tazian crown shines brightly on the head of its emperor.
Okay, sure.
So basically, you're saying we're kind of working for Tazian Dale now.
Or at least they're going to give you aid, yeah.
Yeah. So Ophios would actually probably start talking more with the captain of the guard and just says, whilst I can change shapes and change looks, if there's an items that can just hide my upper's halves, I can use, perhaps learns other skills and not have to worry about changings.
You can use a bag. That's what ugly chicks do.
Is that what the blacksmith says?
Yep.
He would kind of snark a remark, and actually, at that, Ophios would probably actually throw his dagger, which would fly towards his face and disappear before it hits him. Because literally, I can't throw my my weapon. It disappears once it leaves 5 meters from me.
He chuckles at that and says, that's why we use steel with our weapons.
Ophios will just ignore it at that point.
So you
You happy about that one, Daelric? Feeling good about that one?
what? That's why we use steel
Snarky
weapons.
remark there. No,
The bags?
yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I've been told to wear a bag before, usually by my friends or family.
That's how you know they really mean it.
No, that's how you say. That's how you say I like you in New England. You say stuff like, "What's up, Messy? You stupid fuck." Like that's like, "What's up, buddy?" Like,
Daelric, I don't
bring
know
it
how
in.
to tell you this, but whoever told you that was lying.
My whole family, everybody in my life.
Scott, so the packed weapon wouldn't have disappeared, so that didn't happen because it says if it's away from me for 1 minute or longer. A throw would not have made it disappear.
Throws him. Oh shit! Oh.
It would have hit the wall next to him if that happened. He would have thrown it into the wall.
Yeah. So, anyways,
That's
And
when you
it's
stand
5
up
feet.
over his
It's
corpse.
5 feet.
so then from that point on, she kind of like leans in and starts going over some details with you guys. Networks of people that they have, where they have them, stuff that you might be able to find, so on and so forth, including the network that those people have inside their own areas, contacts, the people you might be able to talk to, persons that you're able to know. But most importantly, favors. How it is that you can have favors and where it is that you can spend them. We're bringing
the thing you talked about at the very beginning of the campaign.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, there it
Well,
is.
hold on. There's a reason for it. So we're going to bring this session to a close here with the six of you sitting there and having a conversation with one another. But what's important to note is that mechanics, these meta mechanics like this that are going to be existing moving forward, just like with the Kingmaker campaign, we knew those mechanics were going to take place in Kingmaker, but we didn't integrate them until Season 2. Same thing's going to happen with you guys. Now we know what these meta mechanics are. They're going to be integrated in Season 2. That you're actually going to have things like these favors that you can kind of call in here and there. Favors are going to do things as small as, I really need to find a merchant that has this. You spend a favor for somebody who's just like, hey, can you find this for me? You ask somebody and they tell you. They can be used for things like, hey, I really need to intimidate this guy. And you spend a favor to find out what he finds scary so you can have an advantage on intimidation. We're using so many different things. But you know what we're going to do is next week when we play is similar to what I do with Kingmaker. Next week, instead of having an in-game session, like we're doing here. We're actually going to have an out-of-game session. We're going to make sure that the leveling that your characters did before last session and this one is completely solidified, that you're happy to go there. Have some meta out-of-game conversation about the campaign and maybe like your characters, whatever. But also to go over what these new mechanics are. So we can kind of like cover all those details. So when we come into Season 2 and kind of pick things up with the next season and where things are moving forward, you'll be able to have all that kind of play out. Like understanding of how the rules work so you're comfortable using them, kind of like moving into Season 2. So Season 1 was kind of getting your characters familiar with your characters, getting familiar with the world, with each other, kind of like building that up, finding stuff on, but most importantly, ending with now you have a structure and now you have a goal and you have people that kind of will give you those tasks moving forward. One last thing I do want to point out is that you do ask of them, like, well, one of the things we do need is ore. And I need some cold iron. He's like, well, I'll hook you up. And so he'll actually hook you up with cold iron that you're able to tell Hansa, like, what if I get you cold iron for free? And she goes, I will make whatever you want for free.
Yes, natty 20 on investigation. Fuck yes.
That's where it's coming from. I'll make whatever item you want for free. You know what I mean? I'll definitely do that for you, and I'll make it my top priority. If you're giving me this stuff that alleviates my assets to buy things that I think are more important, I'm really hoping to afford these gifts for my my leaders. So that frees up my assets to do so, and I will definitely, XYZ. And so Hansa is going to hook you up, and she informs you after, like, because obviously she's going to leave, and you no longer need her caravan to head south because you're going to be able to utilize the assets here. She informs you, she's like, what you're going to want to do is when you eventually are able to make your way there, give me at least a year's time before you start heading that direction. Probably a year and a half. Look for a nation called Valorin, and you can write that down. Valorin.
Got it. It's already typed into my allies and organizations.
Cool. So look for a nation called Valorin, and you'll be able to find her there, and she'll be working on your weapon for you.
A nation?
Yeah.
That's on the map?
Yeah.
That you gave us?
It's not on there yet. It's literally...
It's teeny tiny. It's a small nation. Yep.
Okay.
So anyways, so that's what you're going to be looking for. And so that's kind of like how things show up with her, and he hooks you up with that ore, so you don't even have to pay for it. He hooks her up, I should say, with more ore, so she gets what she wants, what you want. Everything's free for you. But because she's making you that weapon, I will go so far as to say, does anybody else have a request of a weapon? It doesn't have to be cold iron. Anybody else have a request of a weapon from her?
Giannis.
I'll get some. I'll stick with the daggers. I'll get some new daggers.
No, he'll sell you those swords. Hold on.
But I can throw the daggers.
Hold on. Well, you can also get daggers too. That's a different sort of case. But I need to check something. He will sell you those things. He will sell you those swords for 50%. So you can actually buy those 2 short swords for 500 gold, which sounds like a lot right now. Just write it down. But next week when we kind of go over this meta stuff, including selling all the goods that you guys have, you'll be able to procure a lot more money. Because you have a bunch of potions and scrolls, and I imagine, especially scrolls, that you guys are probably never going to use. So you can probably just sell all those, you know what I mean? And get some coin to spend here. Okay? Anything else, Rena, or anybody else that you want to go over before we kind of share up this session?
The only other weapon I'd be interested in is, like, maybe
A crossbow that fires axes? Sorry. Now, what did you say?
possible. Oh man.
we can make that. We can make that. Just
I can make it.
some
Don't worry.
serious magic
make
into something.
Rena, if you want, they can hook you up with some quality ore, so you can practice on Teasian Stale.
And
Steel,
not only
steel.
not only that, they could probably have a hilt that's worthy of that axe you just forged.
Yes, I'll take both.
Perfect. Write those down as notes so next week when we play, we can go over all these details and make sure everything is hammered out for you, okay? So yeah, next week is going to be a meta session, unless your characters choose to have any amount of in-game chatter specifically amongst the three of you and not with NPCs. It'll all be meta chat, us kind of like, talking about the game, these changes, the rules, and so on and so forth, all right? Sure. And thus concludes Season 1 of our adventure. Yay!
Oh my gosh. That's insane.
That's crazy.
I can't believe that.
So much more to do.
Wait, does that mean we level up again? Sorry, I'm channeling my
I only wanted to level so bad because we were level 2 and I don't get my spells.
I just want to
to
catch
3.
up.
That's all.
Yeah, level 3 was big for me too. So
yeah.
Catch
up to what? Catch up to the campaign that's going on Season 3?
Oh.
Yeah, that one.
They just finished Season 2. They're going on Season 3, and their session, so next week is actually for both of us, is out-of-game session. So they just had their season finale 2 days ago. And this upcoming Wednesday, their out-of-game session is actually learning mass combat rules. Because they're literally going to have a war, is what they're handling. So it's actually
spoilers.
like armies clashing. No, it's no spoilers. It's
Come on, dude. Spoilers.
armies clashing with armies. This is legitimate like war. So they're learning out of game. They have to learn the mechanics to how to run a war, and that'll be a lot of fun.
What is it?
When are we going to have a combined session if they're ahead a whole season?
Yeah.
Being ahead of season doesn't matter. It's as long as you guys are on the same
great.
timeline.
So then you can give us 2 levels right now.
No, but don't worry. We'll be having collaborative sessions. You guys are just way too far north. Do you know how far north you are? I can actually tell you in 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, that was
map.
part of the reason I wanted to go north. The main reason was obviously I thought I was getting a sword, but the other part was like I don't want to go south yet.
You are, I think, 22 hexes north of them.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I think you might be greater than 22 hexes north of them. So you guys are a considerable distance from them right now. Because I think your hex size is just slightly different from theirs because I'm dumb. I have to double check that. But I think you're 22 hexes north of them. At least. 22 hexes north. So you're a good distance away. But anyways, I don't think there's anything else we have to go over for the session. So why don't we just kind of end it here.
I just gotta say, I'm pretty sure Scott really did want Ophios to reveal his face.
My daughter's crying. That's weird, but my wife's taking care of it. Rena, tell us, who are you? How can we find you?
Hi. I am Rena the Destroyer. I'm a variety streamer here on Twitch. You can find me under that name pretty much everywhere else. I've got the Gram, the Twitterverse, all the good stuff. Currently, I am playing The Walking Dead Definitive Edition. It's actually my favorite game, so it's a good time. We started with Season 1, so yeah, that's where I'm at.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good stuff?
Oh, it's good stuff. It's really like, it's a lot of like, if this happened
Really
in
sad.
real life, like what would your decision be, basically? And you'd have
It's
to
a very
choose.
sad game.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. But I like that kind of stuff.
I think everyone when they first beat it bursts into tears.
Oh yeah, it gives you the feels.
Which game
for
are you
sure.
talking about?
The Walking
The Walking
Dead.
Dead, the Telltale one, I'm assuming.
Oh,
Yes, yeah.
I mean, that TV show got boring as fuck, so I don't know if I'd be...
No, I still watch
so
it.
good,
so.
dude. The game is so good.
The game is so good, dude.
I'm getting feels right now. I'm sorry.
Right, I know. Oh my god. But I haven't played the last.
Don't mind Messi. He wasn't hugged enough as a child.
That's true.
I haven't played the last season, so I'm very excited to play that. But I'm going into it as blind as possible because that's a really it's a series near and dear to my heart. So I'm looking forward to it.
And Tyler, any big stuff you got coming up, sir?
November 23rd, wink wonk, wink wonk. November 23rd, wink wink wonk, wink wonk. No, but
who are you doing November 23rd?
It's a wink wonk. It's a wink wonk.
Okay, well then.
But anyway, that'll be announced sometime soon. I have plans to announce it, and I'm waiting on this. But I recently went full-time as a content creator, seeing if that's going to end up working out for me, giving it about a year. Ups and downs of that are kind of crazy. But Excited about that. I've been streaming Luigi's Mansion over on my Twitch channel.
I hear great things about that game.
It is so fun. It's so great. It honestly is the best game I've played this year.
Cool. I'm so sorry. I just talked over where you're playing it.
No, you're fine. I'm playing over on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/apocalypto_12. Literally, I just type in chat and you can see where I'm at. Blah, blah, blah.
All right. Perfect.
GG. But then you can check out my YouTube channel, and everything else is apocalypto_12. YouTube is no underscore, so just apocalypto12. But doing a bunch of stuff on that side and excited for stuff moving forward. So, and you can also find me over on Maggie's channel on Monday nights, Lost Initiative channel Wednesday nights, and of course here over on Scott's on Friday nights.
And Rena, sorry, Messy, how about you?
Hey guys, Rena the Destroyer here. Hey, I'm Messy Cat. I used to stream, and you can find me at twitch.tv/roll4charity in like 6 months or more. Ooh. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, that's a thing. And I'm Daelric. You can find me here because you found me here, or on Lost Initiative Show because you found me there, or maybe somewhere else. Probably not. Bye.
The grocery store?
Leave my eggs alone.
How dare you. Slings whiskets. Slings whiskets. Slings whiskets. Slings whiskets. Slings whiskets. Slings whiskets.